Okay, so today let's see if we can finish the story. Look at all of that text that we have. Quickly count to yourself how many paragraphs you think there are. There are 6 paragraphs. Now some of them are super short, like right here where it says, Mr. Shanner said, "Hi, Beanie and Kevin, what do we have here?" Okay, so there's a reason why that is only one sentence. It's because every single time a new person talks, you have to start a new paragraph, even if it is just one sentence. All right, so Beanie is all like uptight about their science fair their science project not looking pretty enough, or having enough gimmicks or advertisements or sparkly letters. So she's all like worried about how it looks. But Kevin is very much about, here's the science, this is right, it's a science fair, not an art fair. So let's see what happens with Beanie and Kevin. All right, parents started to come into the gym and walk from table to table. Teachers from our school brought their classes to see the projects too. When I saw my mom and dad, I waved to them and they came over to wish us luck. Kevin said his mom was going to try to get off work early and come, but even though he kept looking toward the door and looking all around the gym, I don't think he saw her. So this is a competition, so they're competing for maybe a trophy or a ribbon, but they're definitely trying to get first place. Then the judges showed up and went from table to table. I started to bite my nails. When they got to the balloon table, I knew we were next. My knees got wobbly. So right there in that paragraph, we have 2 examples that the author uses to show us that Beanie is nervous. I started to bite my nails. That's a nervous habit that some people do. Also, my knees got wobbly, so that means that she's very, very nervous. As the judges walked to our table, Kevin took one last look toward the gym door. He started waving. "She made it," he said. I looked toward the door and saw a woman coming into the gym. She looked out of breath, like she'd been running. Mr. Shanner said, "Hi, Beanie and Kevin. What do we have here?" "We have a project to show that heat makes things expand or get bigger," Kevin said. Then he poked me with his elbow and said, "We will now show you how heat makes gases expand." Then Kevin did the experiment with the balloon on the bottle and explained everything he was doing as he went along. "Next," I said, "we will now show how heat makes liquids expand." Kevin did the bottle and straw experiment and explained it. We did not need paper towels. The red water didn't come up too high, just high enough. Then it was Kevin's turn to talk. He said, "We will now show how heat makes solids expand." This time I did the experiment, the one with the nail and the eye. When we were finished, Mr. Shanner said, The judges wrote stuff on the clipboards and asked us a few questions. They shook our hands and moved on to the next table. "Why weren't they smiling when they shook our hands?" I asked Kevin. "Why didn't they say, 'wow,' when the water came up the straw? Why did Mr. Shanner say, What were they writing on their clipboards?" Kevin sat down and smiled. "We did a good job," he said. So what's going on here? I'm getting the feeling that Beanie and Kevin are not on the same page. They're not thinking the same things. So Beanie is really nervous about that clipboard, and Kevin is kind of being overconfident. So I would like you guys to make some predictions about what you think the teacher wrote down on that clipboard, or what the teacher is thinking. All right, we are now on page 368. We do see some gifts from the author. The author has highlighted the word grainy. Grainy, like when you shake out salt from a salt shaker, grains come out, or little crystals come out. While we were waiting for the judges to make their decisions. Oh, I love that alliteration. Did you catch that? While we were waiting for the judges to make their decisions, I went over to Carol Ann and Stacy's table and asked how their presentation went. Think about that. In one sentence, we have, while we were waiting, went, and then another went. So we have 6 words that all start with the W sound in one sentence. Pretty impressive. Well, said Carol Ann, I think the judges liked our outfits and the necklaces, but they told us to turn off the music so they could hear us better. Plus, we were supposed to start growing the crystals a few days ago, only we forgot to read the instructions on the box. We didn't do it until this morning, so the crystals are kind of small. I looked at the fishbowl of water on their table. It had a string going through the water, and the crystals were supposed to be growing on the string. But all I could see was a little bit of pink grainy stuff on one part of the string. And Stacy nodded. Boomer's mom broke a tooth eating our rock candy. Oh, that's not good at all. So, do you think Beanie is super worried about their presentation? Do you think Beanie thinks that they're going to get first place? What's going on here? How did yours go? Carol Ann asked me. Okay, I guess. The judges came back into the gym. We all went back to our tables. I crossed my fingers. Miss Kowalski said, we were very impressed with the efforts of all of the students. We hope they are as proud of themselves as we are of them. Okay, now let's go on to page 369. Then Mr. Shanner said, it was hard for us to choose the 3 best, but after much deliberation, we have chosen for 3rd place the static electricity experiment. It was creative and educational. Shalita and Jessica screamed. My only hope had been 3rd place. I sighed. I uncrossed my fingers and clapped as they went up to get their certificates and 3rd place ribbons. Next, Mrs. Kowalski gave the 2nd place award. It went to the volcano project. Nathaniel and Montrell's volcano was impressive, she said, but it was their charts and their explanation of what causes a volcano to erupt that we especially liked. Those were thorough and easy to understand. After the clapping, Mr. Shanner coughed and then said, now, for the 1st place project! We felt the winning project was a fine example of real science. It was organized, clear, and complete. I knew we wouldn't get 1st place. I started reciting the 7's times tables in my head just to keep myself from crying. But right at 7 times 4, Kevin started pushing me out from behind our table. Go, he said. We won. We what? We won! I screamed and jumped up and down. I couldn't believe it. Kevin and I each got a certificate and a blue ribbon that had 1st place science fair stamped on it in gold letters. Miss Babbitt hugged us. Then she whispered in my ear, I knew you could make it work. My mom and dad had come up and hugged us, and so did Kevin's mom. Thanks for coming, I heard Kevin say to her. I wouldn't have missed it for anything. I'm just sorry I was late. Then his mom pulled a camera out of her purse. Say, cheeseburger, she told Kevin and me. Aw, Mom, come on, Kevin said, but he smiled. Wow, so that was a strange turn of events for Beanie. They took 1st place. So interesting. She was all nervous and kind of like psyched herself out in her head that they weren't going to win. So it's a pretty interesting thing of how this story, the tables turned in this story.